Hey, what's going on, y'all? We back at it again with another episode of The Real Behind the Ring.
So in today's episode of Access Granted, as you can see from the title, our money was getting low. And then God called us to give up something else.
Yeah.
So that something else that God actually called us to give up was a job opportunity that came about that was actually a better paying job than the one that I currently had, as well as calling me to step away from my current job, which was our only source of income. So to give you a little bit of backstory before we jump into the clips, this job came about. It was doing the same type of work that I was doing at Blue Cross Blue Shield. A friend recommended it to me, and she gave me the link. I went on a walk. Well, we went on a walk as a family, Justin and I and the boys, and we talked about it. And I prayed about it, and I was like, God, if this job is for me, then let it be for me. But if not, then shut it down.
Yeah.
And literally, no lie, baby, as soon as we came back from that walk, which was maybe about 30-40 minutes, I went to apply, and the link was not working.
And I'll interject here. So I was, I'm Mr. Faith, right? Come on, have faith. Well, in this moment, everything she said that was going to happen, or she prayed to God, it happened. Like, it got shut down. And I was like, maybe it's a glitch in the system, because I'm like, hey man, this is wrong, this is rough. And then she was like, no, I prayed it, so that's what it is. And I was like, hey, you're right, so let's rock out. And then
yeah. So he thought it was a glitch in the system. I knew full well that God had shut that position down. Now, fast forward to about 3 weeks later, the position comes back up again, and it's available. And one of my ex-coworkers, who's also a good friend of mine, she tells me about it again. She says, hey, Sherice, I'm going to go ahead and tell the hiring manager about you, give them your name. And that's what she did. And so she said that it was going back up on the link, and they were waiting for me to apply to actually offer me this position, essentially. And so I talked to Justin about it, and then he was like, but I thought you said that God shut it down. Like, so now what are you talking about? And for me, I'm like, well, maybe God just wanted to know that I would give it up, put it on the altar, and that I was okay not having another source of income. And so maybe because he knew my heart, he brought the job back around to actually be something that was going to help provide for our family. And so Justin was like, I don't really know about that, but whatever you say. And so I was kind of under the impression, and I basically told him like, hey, well, since we don't know for sure, let's go ahead, let's put the application in, let's see what happens. And if at any point in time during this journey, God reveals that this isn't the job for me, I will either not go forward with it, or I will quit even if I already started. And so I submitted my application. I did the interview. Maybe 10 minutes later, 10 minutes after the interview, they called me, offered me the job. They offered me the high end of the salary. I countered, and I asked them for a little bit more money. They went, they talked about it, and they came back and they offered me what I asked for. So I just knew it was from God. But before telling you all of the rest of it, I'm going to go ahead and throw it to the clips so you guys can see how all of this plays out.
yeah, check the clips out, man. It'll be interesting.
It's a roller coaster. I'm making this quick video because I am very interested to see what God does. So, over the past few weeks or whatever, I've been off on a 6-week leave of absence. I took a leave of absence after miscarrying the baby, and after a lot of stuff that was going on with the job. And recently, God has been leading me to actually not go back to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So once my 6 weeks of leave of absence is over, I'm going to be turning in my resignation and leaving for good, which means that Justin nor I will be employed. However, we are trusting God and we're believing God because we're moving the way that He is instructing us to move.
Baby.
Hi,
Look, we literally didn't know if we was going to even make this video until right now, because I wanted to get my wife's raw emotions after we just started looking at our bank account and looking at the credit card bills that we're paying off, and things of that nature, from buying food or whatever may have you. So what's the conversation we're having, baby, real quick, and what are the feelings on this Sunday?
So,
You gotta stop walking away from me, man.
well, I'm trying to get the boys food on.
Oh, okay.
The conversation that we're having is about our bills, and we had a certain number that was, I guess you could say, my level of comfortability that I did not want us to go under, as far as paying for the product and things of that nature, or having to use our savings account to pay for bills. And I'm not sure if we even blogged or videoed about this yet, but recently God has called me to leave Blue Cross Blue Shield as well, we believe. And so we've made the decision that I'm going to be putting in my 2-week notice after my 6-week leave of absence. And we are already at the point now to where we're about to have to start dipping into our savings account to pay our bills, our mortgage, and the other bills that we have. So it's an uncomfortable time for me right now, because we're about to really step out there even further, because before I was still working, so my job could still pay for our household bills. But with me deciding to leave there, we are now going to be fully dependent on what we have saved up and steward thus far, and the Lord to provide a ram in the bush out of nowhere. So that is where we're at, and it's just an uncomfortable situation. I need to go have a conversation with the Lord about it. It's not that I don't believe, it's not that I don't have faith, I do, but as a mom and a wife and thinking about security and things of that nature, it's just a scary situation. So those are my raw thoughts.
Gotcha. And I'm excited.
That's great for you.
Nah, because when we look back at this and God does what he does, what I know he's going to do, because of what he's already done and provided, it's going to be funny. Like, it's literally going to be funny. And I'm not saying that means we're not going to go through anything. It just means that God's already shown us the end.
It may be funny later, but it's not funny today. So,
hey, that's why I wanted to get this on camera.
Your chuckling is gonna upset me. So
okay, well, I end the video so they don't see us all again.
Yeah, let's end the video.
Yeah, all right, love you.
Love you too.
All right.
Just recently, as of yesterday, I actually had an interview with another company who would have me doing similar work to what I'm doing right now at my current job, and they are offering me a salary increase, a significant salary increase. So I interviewed yesterday and was told today that I got the position. So I just actually finished filling out all the paperwork for the background check and to get all that stuff together. So just a quick update, when I go back to my current job on Monday, June the 6th, I'll be putting in my 2-week notice, and if everything goes through with my background check, which it should, I should be starting at this new company on roughly around the 20th of June. So Justin and I are pretty excited. We do believe God has provided us this opportunity to allow for extra income to be coming in our household while we're continuing to work on the product. So that is where we are. We prayed about it before I even applied. We told God, or asked God, not told him, but asked him to, shut it down if it wasn't meant for me, just to not let it go through. And even with the salary they offered me yesterday, I asked them for an increase of the salary, which was above what their maximum salary was for the position, and they took it back and discussed it and talked about it and was able to give me what I asked for. So that was even just more confirmation that this was something for us to go ahead and just move forward with. So we'll keep you guys updated on how everything is going. So yeah, that's that. I'll be starting a new job here in the next couple of weeks. We're still working on the product. We actually have another meeting tomorrow to see how far they've come with the prototype, and we've put our down payment down, and we're waiting for our car to get here in the next couple of months, hopefully sooner than later, because we are running out of room. But yeah, you guys have a great night. I'm getting ready to go to bed. It's pretty late, but I will talk with you guys later. And yeah, today is June the 1st, 2022, just for a date and timestamp for the video. Okay, so I decided to make a video real quick because I was sitting here talking to the Lord, just thinking about how everything has panned out today. And it is just, it's crazy. And I wanted to make my own video to just have a log of this, to be able to go back whenever God does what he's going to do and watch this and be amazed. So there is so much going on right now. Today is June 6th, 2022. And I literally just turned down a position that I accepted initially and was supposed to be starting in 2 weeks at Covent Bridge. And it was an increase from my pay at Blue Cross Blue Shield. And God, I believe showed and led me that this wasn't the right position at this time. I was excited about it. It was something that seemed like it was going to be a great fit for me, but literally it was like he was saying, no, it's a trap. And there are other things that he wants me to be focusing my time and energy on right now. So I went ahead and sent them an email letting them know that I was declining to move forward. In addition to that, I started back at Blue Cross Blue Shield today. Today was my first day back from leave of absence. And I let my manager know that I'm going to be putting my 2-week notice in there. And so in 2 weeks, I will be unemployed, as will Justin, unless Justin's been unemployed since January because God called him to leave his job in January, and then God called me to leave Blue Cross Blue Shield 6 months later in June. So by the end of this month, both he and I will not be working. We have some money saved up in the bank, but it's just not this super ton amount of money. So we don't know how long that's going to last. We're also in the middle of developing this prototype for this product that God gave me the dream for. And so we're excited to see what happens with that because we have no clue. When Justin left his job, we had to get rid of his company car. So right now, since January, we've been, all four of us, me, Justin, Josiah, and Josh, have been in our 2-door Honda Coupe, which is my old car that I've had since 2010. And we are running out of space. God has called us to have a third child, which we were pregnant with and just miscarried on April 24th of this year. So at some point we'll be trying again for the third child that we know that God has told us to have. And we're just out here doing all these things in faith. What happens with this product? I've saw this product in the dream and vision that he gave me already in Walmart. So how it's going to get to Walmart, I don't know. I don't know. When he first gave me the vision, I didn't even know how you go about making a product. And now we're far enough into this process that we almost have an actual prototype. So again, this is beyond my wheelhouse. This is outside of my comfort zone. This is beyond my comprehension and understanding. I know how to do a lot of things. You ask me something about nursing, I can tell you with no issues, no problem. But he has called me away from nursing, it seems, at this point. And even in a dream that he gave me this morning was showing me clearly that to stay in nursing right now would be a trap. And it's a trap and a distraction away from what he's calling me into. So this video, we've been making a lot of videos to just like track our story and our testimony, but this one is just for me because I just need to have documentation of all of this. I was going to write this in my journal, but it was just too much to write. So I decided to make a video instead. But I am going to look back on this video one day, I believe, when we are financially free and have this product in Walmart and are driving around in our new car and our house is paid for and we have 3 healthy children that God has given us, and Josh and Josiah are just growing up and we got a new addition to the family, and look back on this and just be able to just marvel at the faithfulness of God and the vastness and the greatness of God, because we can't do any of this in our own strength. So anything that becomes of our life is going to be because God's hand was on it. So I just wanted to make this video and I'm out. So, as you guys can see from those clips, it was an up and down roller coaster. I thought the job was from God, everything was good. And then the day that I went back to Blue Cross Blue Shield and was turning in my resignation for Blue Cross Blue Shield, God also gave me a dream letting me know that the job that I had just accepted was a trap. So, in that same day, I not only gave my resignation to Blue Cross Blue Shield, but I also had to send an email telling this new company that I wasn't going to be able to accept the job. And so at that point in one day, I went to basically having no jobs. And so to give you guys a little bit more backstory about that dream. So how did God tell you that it was a trap? The long story short is this. I had already, God had already moved me away from bedside nursing, which was one of the things that I desired. And I had a job where I was working from home as a nurse, and I loved it. This is in reality. And so in the dream, I was actually back in the hospital setting, and there was a shooter that was coming into the hospital, and he was getting ready to shoot up the hospital. This shooter was going through room to room and just shooting anybody that he saw. He came into the room where I was at, but I had been hiding, and so he did not see me. And once he looked in the room, didn't see anybody there, he moved on to the next room. Well, as he moved his way throughout the hospital shooting, I left the room that I was in because I didn't want him to come back. And I ran in the opposite direction. I actually ended up in like a stairwell where there were like exit doors, and I was trying to get out. Once I was in that stairwell, I realized I couldn't get out of the building because if you go through the door, it was going to sound an alarm. Well, I ran into a lady in the stairwell who had a badge that would open it, and the alarm wasn't supposed to sound. And she was gracious enough to let me out of the building. But unfortunately, when she used her badge and let me out of the building, the sirens went off, and then they knew someone was trying to escape. And so I could see this shooter coming for my direction, but I was already outside the building, or so I thought. And so I was trying to run to get to freedom. Well, as I was continuing to run outside, I ended up realizing that I was still trapped within the perimeter of the hospital, and I was trapped by an electrocuting fence, and the fence was live wired. And so if I were to try to get over the fence, I would have gotten electrocuted or shocked. And so I had to run around outside within the perimeter, trying to stay away from this shooter and find my way out to the outside of the fence. And I finally found an area where I was able to get out. Now, once I got out of the fence, I was on the other side, and I was looking back at the hospital. And as I got out of the other side of the fence, God told me that it was freedom, like you're free. And so I just started running home to my family. And so as I woke up, I was like, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? Because I knew it had something to do with the dream. And what God had revealed to me was very just humbly and sweetly in my spirit. He told me it's a trap. And so I said, a trap? What do you mean? And he began to explain to me that I've already moved you outside of the hospital setting, which is one of the things that you wanted. But now I'm actually trying to set you free from the nursing field altogether. But if you take this job, you're going to be out of the hospital, but you're still going to be in the perimeter and within the confines of nursing, and you're not going to truly get to the freedom on the other side that I have for you. And so I knew then at that moment that I couldn't take that job because that job was going to continue to trap me in a nursing field. And there's nothing wrong with nursing. I love nursing. I loved being a nurse for 12 years, but I think because it was so much of my identity, God was trying to free me from that and show me who I am in Christ and who he actually wanted me to be. So that was the dream wrapped up in a nutshell, and how I knew that I had to not only let go of Blue Cross Blue Shield, which I loved working there as well, but I also had to let go of a new opportunity that was going to provide us with more money for our household. That seemed like a good opportunity, but it just wasn't a God opportunity. And so that is where we ended up. God had me to let go of both of those things, and essentially June of 2020, both myself and Justin
2022.
Yeah, 2022. I'm 2 years behind. Y'all help me. June of 2022, we now both had no jobs and no income coming into our household.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that's pretty much it. I mean, I think that during this journey with Sherice, I'll never understand the way that she's felt. That's why I'm just quiet this episode because um, for me, it's just like, hey, on the bigger and better things. Trust God, because I'm just a person where it's like, hey, we here.
You saw how excited he was in that first clip when I was telling him the money was low and he was playing around and almost
But it's
got me mad.
To me, it's like I don't know if it's just a mind frame that I have, but I'm like, shoot, if we here, we here. Like, if it's bullets flying across your head, it's like, what you gonna do? You can't panic now. It's like, well, we here, Lord. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to use that type of analogy, but that's kind of the way my mind works. It's like, once you're in a situation, you can either panic or you can say, okay, God, I'm here. And in this situation, it wasn't due to us doing anything ignorant. It was due to us following God and being obedient. And so for me, that's where my confidence rests. But hey, man, I'd have been crying on this journey, and God didn't really humble me. So I can sit here and act like Mr. Tough Guy and Mr. Man of Faith, but my faith has been low plenty of times. It's been low recently, and it's been built back up. So I definitely don't want to come off as the, oh, I'm more faithful or faith filled than Sherice. It's the matter of like she's had a ton of transitions that she's went through into something she's never desired. So she wanted to retire from nursing. That was who she was, right? She's the nurse. You call her when you have questions. She was excellent, but she probably could have been a doctor. She was that good, and I'm not just saying that because she's my wife, but to sum it all up, I've never really wanted to work for anybody.
Yeah.
So God doing this for me, it's like, dang, God, like, come on, bring us to the good part, but at the same time, thank you because this is what I've desired. For her, she's never wanted to be an entrepreneur. God has pushed her into it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the friction. We both go through things, but I'm just like, I'm happy in the midst of it because I'm free. She didn't feel like she was free. She felt like God put handcuffs on her. Like he let her out the cage just to put her in handcuffs.
And for me, it ended up being a grieving process, which you guys will probably see more about that as we go through the journey. So not only was I grieving the miscarriage and the loss of our child that we were trying to have, but then very quickly after that, I was grieving the loss of job, security, safety, and identity. Because now, if I'm not a nurse and that's all I've been doing since 22 years old, who am I? So it was a big transition and a roller coaster ride, and it only gets crazier as we continue to go up and down. Next episode, you guys will see. So yeah, but just stay tuned, and we hope again that this is encouraging you all's faith. Again, let us know how we can pray for you. Like this video so we can get in front of more people. Share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, but just make sure you guys come back and check us out.
Yeah, for sure. This is another episode of Real Behind the Ring. We love y'all.
Peace.